Toss a coin to your podcast. Oh, Valley, you're plenty. Hello, it's Chris on the Peter Spice Show.
And James, we're back.
2020, had the vision. We got a vision for 2020.
Short hiatus. We are back now. Your favourite podcast is back.
Maybe Dom's favourite podcast.
Your favourite podcast of 2020
Begins now.
is here.
The lack of promotion is still the mantra that we kind of abide by until, someone does toss a coin to the podcast, and we kind of,
If anybody does, we'll start a Patreon page.
But if you're going to toss a coin, be careful, not on the face, crotch, mainly to the palm or into the pocket, those sort of things, yeah. So how have you been in the past month? Although we have seen each other in the past month.
We have. Good. I feel like a lot has happened, but at the same time, I can't remember any of the stuff that has happened. But I feel like a lot has happened, just in life. What's happened since we've been away? Been an election.
Oh yeah, good point.
World War III.
Yeah.
Some new music, not loads. This time of year is usually pretty quiet, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this more likely to be will be sort of news sort of segment sort of stuff we don't mind the news segment at all, but yeah, we probably won't get into sort of a lot of albums. It's probably till the latter part of the month till February.
I think the good thing is that we've had quite a lot of time off, so it's just more to talk about.
Well,
I think if we were just doing it week by week, there'd be fuck all, wouldn't there? But
yeah.
We're just checking we're recording here. If there's silence, we can edit this out. We'll keep it.
We are amateur.
We're raw. Going raw.
Well, hold on. Better web protection.
Same. I think loose kind of thing this episode. Talk about stuff that's been going on, stuff we've been listening to, some newsworthy items and news items, and then. Whatever there's not really a lot going on right now. There's not a lot that's come out this week.
We're not going to try and sound bored or anything.
We'll see how we do. What about you, Kristen? What have you been?
Well, I've been trying to survive the plague, the old Christmas plague.
Yeah. This is the reason Chris was pronounced dead for at least 2 days. I think at one point it got that bad.
I had -7 heartbeats. It was like a feat that no man has ever withstood, but I'm here and
he's pulled through just for the pod.
Just about fixed. I'm still, I'm not going to cough and split like I would have been doing the past couple of weeks.
If we'd have actually recorded an episode, it would have been rough, I think.
Yeah, so. I had at one point no voice, and then I had to have a voice because of how I work.
I could have translated.
What? Some sort of how?
If you scribed for me.
So, I could have. I suppose I could have got one of those Stephen Hawking's things, and then, hello, this is Chris. I am still ill. This is how I'm going to speak. Yeah,
text type. Call it text type. To record your podcast for you.
Yeah, we could do that. I suppose
that's actually a good service. But, I think could be onto something there.
I mean, I wonder if anyone. No, never mind. Let's not deviate too much. We've got a jam-packed day. As someone's off on holiday in a week, so
getting some podcasts in the bank,
but not money in the bank. There's podcasts in the bank.
There's no money. There's no money involved here.
If anything, we owe everyone.
Yeah, we're still trying to navigate some copyright issues. The first one was that the podcast app that we use, the intro track from Gilbert. Shout out to Gilbert.
Yeah, definitely.
But the track that Gilbert made for us. Our podcast app tried to tell us that we couldn't use that because we didn't own the rights to it. So then we're going to take it off Spotify. And then we got a copyright thing on an Instagram video from Sharon Van Etten in Canada. I don't know.
I think Canada own all of Sharon's recordings.
It's just the country of Canada.
Is she Canadian?
She's not, because I googled it.
Oh, right.
I saw it and I was like, is she Canadian? And she's not.
So I think my theory is that someone on Instagram, that's not a label, someone has gained the right to have Sharon Van Etten's Well, what was the song put out? It was Come Back Kid. As solely on their thing. Yeah. And they've got the whole rights for Canada. So maybe what we should do is for that song, we should try and get rights for it in the UK. And then people... Then maybe we get money from the label.
But I think the video being blocked, I think it must only be in Canada. Because I went on through my Instagram and I can still see the video. So for all our Canadian fans out there...
What's the president called again?
Justin Trudeau.
That's it, Trudeau. Yeah.
Mr. Trudeau, if you're listening, he's rocking a nice beard.
Well, I don't think he can. We're banned.
Yeah.
In fact, we're banned in Canada. That's what we're going to say now.
Yeah, banned from Canada.
You know, we'll start our own little sub war with Canada, and then see what happens with that.
There's enough going on, Chris.
There's not. Well, you know what? This is when the world's end. This is where, you know, back in the day, this is where I predicted where robots would rise up. So by the end of 2020, if robots rise up, just remember I warned every single person. Every person who's listening right now, be careful of the robots.
And then if they don't, people just forget about it. And then you could say this every year, and then when it eventually does happen.
No, I said it was in 2020.
Oh, you predicted this.
Yeah, I think I said it 10 years ago.
Okay, I've got evidence of that.
I got no evidence for it.
You got a time capsule in your back garden.
I don't know who I said it to. I just said, I think 2020.
Yourself. You were sat here.
I was sat here, I probably wasn't here. I probably was in Knaresborough at the time. And I was like, I think in 2020, that's when robots are going to rise
All them
up.
ducks were jumping off that fucking cliff. And you were like...
If only, you know, we had advanced in technology by that point.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe some secret robot war, or maybe the Iranians have got some sort of secret robot army they're not going to tell everyone about, and that's it. They're the nuclear weapons they have. They're all powered by nuclear sort of power cells, and they're going to be all Terminators, and they actually create a Terminator. Who knows? Maybe that's going to be the dark fate for all of us.
Yeah. What a film!
That's what I'm saying. It.
What a film!
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
I was going to go and see it. I remember they couldn't find a date for it. So
yeah, I was going to go see it and it looked shit, so I didn't. So
yeah, but it's a black Terminator. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I think what we really should be doing is going back to the music sort of side of things. And
so when did we even last? The last two episodes were recorded all at once, and
so we've not even done a week by week basis yet.
No.
And we still won't do it.
Yeah, we still won't.
So we just keep doing podcasts in the banks.
Yeah, so, you know, for the next 6 months, the ones that you listen to, who knows when they'll have been recorded. But yeah, so I think when we last recorded, it was like the back end of November, wasn't it, I think, that we recorded them. So there's been
kind of a good point, yeah, so it's an entire month, really.
Yeah, so through November and December, there's quite a lot of shit that's come out, really. What have... Your hot tracks.
I mean, I don't want to allude to some stuff in case we're going to talk about it in the news, so I probably will maybe hold fire and some of that sort of stuff. I did, like I promised on the last episode, I did listen to Joe Pesci's
crooner album, his jazz album.
I can't remember what it's called again. What was it called?
Still Singing or some shit like that.
Still Singing some...
Is that what?
Yeah, some jazz album. And, you know, do you know what? Pesci... He's alright. You know, there's some songs where you can tell he's about 70.
It's called Pesci ellipses Still Singing. That's what it's called.
And I think I chose the Round Midnight song because I think that was probably the best vocal performance he had in the entire album. But you know, I mean, it was quite long. I think it was like 55 minutes or something.
You can watch it alongside The Irishman, and you will finish The Irishman before you finish Joe Pesci Still Singing.
No, I don't think so. I mean, The Irishman, you probably have listened to, you know, Joe Pesci's album about 8 times before you even near finishing Irishman. Not that Irishman is a bad film. I don't want to say it's a bad film, but no, it was good. He can sing, I suppose, but he's like in his like early 70s. Mid-70s?
Yeah, something like that.
70-something. So he's... Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I think, you know, Round Midnight's a good track. And yeah, so I don't... Yeah, I listened to that. That was kind of good. Listened to a couple of albums as well, which I'm trying to think of what they were back then. We go to see what were you listening to?
Well, album, so I think the week that we recorded just after that, there were the There's a new Stormzy album came out, which I like.
I like it as well.
Yeah,
I actually managed to listen to it this past week, weirdly enough. Don't know why it took so long, but it's actually really... I think, in a way, I think it's more accessible, and it's still kind of his sort of hardcore sort of stuff. Not, I wouldn't say hardcore in terms of like hardcore, but like what he's kind of known for with how his style is, and obviously how his vocal tones are. I think you still have that even with some of the sort of poppy sort of time of tracks or tracks he's trying to sing. I think it's a really, really good album. I think I actually was really surprised. And maybe because I had low expectations, I don't know, because I did like Gang Signs and Prayer. I think that was a good album, but it wasn't enough for me to kind of... I can't remember if it hit my top 50, which I'm not doing anymore. I'm not doing any top 50s anymore. But that was a good album. I think this is a much better follow-up. People may disagree because he's got a couple of poppy songs on there, but there's some really good, like, UK rap, grimy sort of tracks on there, and I really like it.
Yeah, I like... I mean, it's kind of similar to the last one where it's like you say, it's a mix of more sort of, not necessarily grime, but just that kind of like, it's just like a banger sort of song.
Yeah.
And then there's more softer stuff where he's singing, and then more poppy stuff. And but yeah, all the features are good. My thoughts on the last album, I don't know, like a Kalani one, which
I like Kalani. I think Kalani's got great. I mean, I can't remember it. I can barely remember the last album.
The album.
I'm just having a look at it now.
Cigarettes and Kush.
I mean,
the last album were really good as well, to be fair.
The last album was pretty... with Lily Allen. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Maybe I need to return it. Maybe it just didn't vibe with me at the time.
Yeah. I think on the new one, I can't remember specifics, but there are a few lyrics on there which are just a bit like... not some of his best. I can't come up with specific...
I think what we should do is, going forward, if we hear a dodgy lyric or two, we'll kind of keep a note on it and discuss it.
Yeah,
we'll get a deep dive.
We'll do a segment of just shit lyrics.
But I think it's hard though, because like I always say this, when people don't like hip hop, for example, and they come in and it could be like a really, really simplistic line, but like it works in terms of transition to maybe the next 2 or 3 lines. So then it may, out of context, sound really, really bad, or sound just really poor. But actually, when you look at it, because sometimes you don't have to be super lyrical, miracle, spiritual. Can't think of another one.
That were good by there, Chris.
But, well, to be fair, that's always the in joke in the hip hop community about saying that. So yeah. So I was really, really impressed by it. I mean, obviously, I listened to it because we will be talking in a little mini episode about the old grime war, but. That's one of the reasons why I thought I'd better listen to it, because I know we're going to be talking probably about him. And I was really surprised he got her on it.
Yeah, good song.
Yeah, well,
really good.
She's amazing anyway. I think whatever she touches is turning gold at the moment, and I think whatever her future album will be, an actual album, will be pretty good. Because I think what she's done, she dropped an EP last year, didn't she? Or the year before, that was good. But then before that, she dropped an album, but there was like 2 EPs in one. So I'm not a massive fan of that. I know we're deviating from what we listened to, but I'm not a massive fan of someone dropping an EP of like 7-8 songs and then drop another EP 7-8 songs, and then at the end of the year or in the new year, but that's what it was, in the new year, the album was the 2 EPs from the previous year.
Yeah,
just like maybe one extra bonus track or something like that. It's like I don't really understand. I get maybe in terms of the streaming sort of world we're living now, it's probably really good, but. From a point of view, like you've got a project, there's just 2 really good projects. Just have it as projects like that, not have it as a combine. You can still combine it anyway. You got technology now where you can just do playlists and stuff like we do anyway. So I don't really understand that, but yeah, I didn't mind Ed Sheeran on it.
Yeah, it's one of the sort of most bearable Ed Sheeran features that's been recently.
I liked H on it.
Yeah,
doesn't want to listen to his EP. I know that came out last year. I didn't get a chance to listen to it, but that's okay. And I think it's crazy when you look at Stormzy's album and look at like the state of UK hip hop last year, and like how many really good albums that came out from UK rappers. If you look at like Dave, Little Sims, Slow Tie, and obviously Stormzy, and Kano, I suppose. But I mean, I don't. Kano's album, I do like Kano's album.
It's a good album.
But that last track does my head in. So I can't. I think if it weren't for that last track, I probably would. If I was doing a top 50, or maybe it would probably be in my top 50 if it was weren't for that last track.
That ruins the whole thing for you.
Yeah. Because I listened to it a few times, and every time I got to the last track, I was like, nah. It's just the suck your mum thing. I just don't like, unless you're doing it in sort of bar, and it's like a part of like, you know, sort of dissing someone. I don't mind that, but when it's like the whole fucking song is basically that. It's like I'm not really into that sort of stuff. But apart from that, if you look at it, like hip hop had a really good year for UK, and all those albums are great, and all of them are big names now. So, well, Little Sim's relatively, I suppose. You know, she should be bigger than she actually is, but I'm sure we'll go into that at some point. Anything else you listen to?
The new Harry Styles album was surprisingly not. He's all right. Like,
are you saying that I should check it out?
There are some decent songs on it. The whole thing overall is a bit hit and miss.
Yeah. So what kind of album is it then?
It's just a pop album, really, I guess.
Like pure pop? Does it have like any sort of R&B, sort of soul sort of stuff? Because I know he's got like a vocal range, anyway, because that's why he got into One Direction and stuff like that. But
yeah, it's a bit of a mixture. They sort of tried to get more sort of, you know, more instrumental type stuff in there, more guitar stuff like that. I mean, I don't think he actually writes any of it himself. I don't know if he plays any of it himself, but I think, especially when you look at all of the shit that rest of One Direction are sort of churning out, it's actually sort of.
So should he stick to still making music or try and be an actor like he was in Dunkirk?
Well, I think he seems like he can do both. Sort of minimal effort in the acting, wasn't it?
To be fair, it wasn't really a big role, to be honest.
Sort of wandering around, looking nice. But it's sort of like there's not all the songs work necessarily, but you're sort of trying a few new things in it, really,
yeah.
And yeah, some decent tracks on it.
Yeah, cool, man.
Other than that, like the what other albums have come out? There was a Idol's live album.
That's awesome.
That's a good album.
Really, really good album.
When did the Starface album come out?
Which one?
The Starface one. When did that come out?
I still know what I still listen. No, I still listen to either of them actually.
So, yeah,
do you listen to them then?
I think that's the most recent one. The odd
Zara Gang Against Us, yeah. Because the other one was like it came out actually in Record Store Day. And you know what? I completely forgot to even get around to that. There's so many albums I missed.
That's good.
It's good because it didn't. Am I going crazy here? Did the Ghostface one came out this year or last year?
I think that was this year. I think. Yeah, I think that was earlier.
It says 2018 on here.
Was it?
It says 2018 on here. No, I've just left it.
I thought that was earlier this year, but anyway. Other than that, like those are the main albums. The other songs I've been listening to. Let me think. Last time, there was the Heartless, the Weeknd song that came out kind of just before. Mm-hmm. Have you listened to the Blinding Lights as well?
No, because
it's fucking great. I think it's well good. It's catchy as fuck.
We should probably put that on the playlist.
Yeah, it's
actually
great.
No, the reason why I didn't listen to it because I just didn't want. I just wanted to make sure that I kind of surprised when the album dropped because like I'm trying not to listen too much really because I mean I know that I feel like Weeknd's going to really deliver this next project, but it's not that what did he call? What was it? What was that last? Starboy. That was it. He's not trying to be a Starboy anymore. Yeah.
Well, this one it's different to Heartless. It's sort of synthy and I think it's really good. There's been a few Turnpile tracks that have dropped since then as well.
Again, I'm trying to. I'm trying to
You're doing a me.
Yeah, only because like I'll listen to like a single, and then I'll be like, okay, well, I'm excited for it. I'm interested. I think I listened to the first 2 songs they released, but yeah, I think they're going to drop a really good album this year as well. So I didn't really try to listen to that much.
Yeah. Other than that, what else? There's been a few new Grimes tracks. There's one I'm gonna put on the playlist, but all those have been decent. New Heinz track as well, actually, which is alright. It's a Heinz song. It's no
Heinz.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I'm not.
It's not like groundbreaking.
No, it's just like a cool Heinz
decent
song.
song. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so I listened to a lot of weird stuff actually over in variations, we say, in December. So Pitchfork reviewed sort of this pop primer of I think it was city pop, which is like basically Japanese sort of bands. Like I think that their sort of way of their pop music is kind of like what they call city pop. I haven't really looked into it much. I might look into it more actually now, but so basically this pop primer thing, I can't remember the actual label, does it? Bear in mind, I had to create the actual playlist song for song using Shazam because the playlist wasn't on Apple, it was only on Spotify.
Oh, right, okay.
So I had to use Shazam to find out where the songs are, and then I create the actual playlist. And there's a few really good tracks. It's just basically 80s sort of synth electronic sort of pop music, but in Japanese. And obviously it's weird. I always find it weird now. I play like some like games like from like Yakuza series and stuff like that. And when you'll have songs where they're in Japanese, but obviously certain words are still in English. So it's like they'll be singing in Japanese, and then all of a sudden there'll be like a word or two that's in English, and it always like throws you off a little bit, like what I'm listening to. So I chose a few of the songs from that playlist. So yeah, listen to them. Bearing in mind, I know they're obviously Japanese, but they're actually enjoyable tracks. Sometimes you can listen to something that you do not understand at all. Even in English, you might not understand it in terms of like the lyrics or whatever, or even how the instrumentation is, but you just kind of vibe with it, and that's kind of like how I looked at it. I also listened to the new Griselda album, which I said I was going to last episode. Obviously, cautious because they were on Shady Records. Someone who is a big fan of the group Slaughterhouse. I was quite worried because the Slaughterhouse Shady album was not great. There was a few good tracks on there. Pretty much what I wanted. This New York gritty sound from you could drop this album in the mid-90s and it would fit. And that's a lot of people for hip hop, big hip hop heads, they want that sometimes. They just want that sort of nostalgic feel. And yeah, it's almost like Violent Talk. It's like Mobb Deep of what was that? What was the second Mobb Deep album? The Infamous. It's like that sort of style, but going on in terms of just modernizing it. And the thing is, so it involves West Side Gun, who's made a name for himself for a long time for the past few years. Conway the Machine, again, who's made a name for himself, and also Benny the Butcher, which I have to laugh at that name. I think technically because the other two are the prominent names, and because they've been doing it together, because they're both brothers. Benny's the standout. Benny is just he can really rap, and he dropped a really good EP last year as well, which I always said it was a companion piece to the Freddie Gibbs album because it's very similar sort of topics and sample base as well. And he just shines it whenever you hear him speak, because I think West Side's got that really sort of screechy sort of Talib Kweli type of voice where I think he can throw a lot of people off because of how he does it. And then Conway, because of obviously he got shot in the face or got shot and he developed Bell's palsy because of it. Sometimes like his rapping flow is great, but then I think it's almost so like monotone in a way. Well, not monotone, but like it's so what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word. It's just it doesn't hit that much because you feel like he has to, because of how his mouth is, it didn't hit that much. Then Benny's just like the best of both of them, and he can just rap his ass off, and he's just great. I think he's one to, if he drops like a full solo album, I think that, and he does it the same way as that EP. I'm hoping that he gets a producer like someone like a Madlib. I couldn't really think off the top of my head. I mean, it probably will be Darringer, who's part of the whole Griselda crew anyway, who does all the beats. It'd probably be him, but that'd be really cool. I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but it's not like a major news anyway, but LP from Run the Jewels, his old label Definitive Jux, or Def Jux for short, that collapsed back in 2007 or 8. We had major indie hits from there. His solo stuff's now coming back onto streaming platforms under a different label. I think it's for like 3 or 4 years or something. It was a weird story that I read, and I was like, okay, so they've got the rights for the next 4 years or something like that. So they're gonna try and distribute it as much. So it's an album which I actually got into him as well. I'll sleep when you're dead, and it's just LP, like, masterpiece basically. It's just how he does all these beats, the rhyme patterns, how we've known him for years, or how people have known him for years before that. That's the album that got me into him, and that's the album that I started listening to everything. That was whoever was featured on that album, wanted to listen to everything they were doing, all that sort of stuff. You know, people like Cage and A$AP Rock, someone else I can't remember off the top of my head. Trent Reznor's on it, from 9 Inch Nails, he's on it. And it's just a really, really great album. I think if anyone's a fan of Run the Jewels or wants to kind of see what, you know, people like LP were doing way before Run the Jewels came. When did Run the Jewels' first album come out? 2012, 13?
Something like that, yeah. Won't that long ago.
So I'll Sleep When You're Dead came out 2006, I think. So it was a fair few years before that. And I always say, I think it's funny how I was a fan of both those artists, and then they became this even bigger together, which is really weird, and randomly together as well. So that was really, really good, and I really, really enjoyed that. And also, one of my favourite groups, Atmosphere, dropped a random album, and it's great. It's really, really good. I put a couple of songs, or one song on the playlist, but yeah, it's just typical Atmosphere. I know that I think I talked about the single, or one of the singles, what sort of song that came out, I think on the last episode, the BDE Scar, whatever it's called, which is one of the songs on there, obviously. And I was thinking when I listened to it, it's like they're prepping an album or an EP or something like that. They have to be. They won't be just doing this randomly. And then they surprisingly just dropped an album, and I was like, I remember going on to the new release and I go, is this real? And I went through all the Instagrams and all Rhyme said, like, I couldn't see anything at first. Like, this is real, isn't it? And then, absolutely really, really good album. Anyone's a fan of...
It's real.
Can you tell me one more time?
It's real.
Okay. It's definitely real, and it's really, really good. It's just a typical Atmosphere album, which means it's kind of jokey in a way. Well, there's one track I really hate, which is the jokey one. It's about Slug falling in love with the post woman. It's again much like the Suck Your Mum thing.
That doesn't ruin the album for you. Is this one okay?
Can you stomach this one? Because it's not like in your face sort of that way. I can kind of. Apparently, it stems from a tweet that he put up a year or so ago, and someone said you should make a song about it. Apparently, that's where it stems from.
Okay.
So he obviously done that, and it's like I say, some little jokey sort of stuff. But then it's kind of Slug going back to his kind of roots in some of it, where he's a bit more serious. But then it's also still talking about like how he is at this stage in the career, as well as him being a father and stuff like that, which is kind of being the sort of motif of like pretty much like last album, on the last couple of albums really. So it's kind of a continuation of that. I think, and a couple of like R&B songs. I think there was a guy called John Vinyl, Dangerous. That was a really cool song. Jesse Reyes, Crazy. I really enjoyed that as well. And also listened to FK Twigs, which I'll probably talk about at some point at the actual album. That album's really, really good.
Yeah.
Pretty much LP1, but LP2. sort of things. And have you ever listened to Black Midi's album?
What? Schlagenheim?
Yeah. Did you listen to it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I really like it. I need to listen to it again, because like it goes without saying that it takes a minute to sort of be like, right, okay, this is what the whole album's going to be like. Because
that was my point. Because I didn't realise it was going to be almost as experimental as it will say it was going to be. And then it was like, they're trying to almost incorporate all these different sort of styles. And it's like your brain can't really comprehend what's going on.
So I really like it. I listened to it pretty much when it came out. I listened to it a few times then, but then I've not really gone back and properly sat down and listened to it. And I've been meaning to. But yeah.
I think it's a good album. I don't think it will get to the point where I'll put it in my top 10 of last year. But I think it's an album I could grow to really, really enjoy because do you feel like it's like, do you remember like TV on the radio? You ever listen to them? It's kind of like them when they were being a bit experimental, and they did that Dear Science album. I had like vibes from that. Also, sometimes his voice sounded like Kings of Leon. Maybe my mind was thinking
all over the
that.
place sometimes, yeah.
So
I think it just gives you hope as well that, you know, if you can't sing.
Well, are we talking about Black Midi a little bit?
There's still hope for you.
In our mini episode.
Okay.
Right. So I chose the last song, and the last song's kind of Doctor. That's like a more approachable song, I think, for them. And I also listened to Pup's album, Morbid Stuff, which is kind of very, very pop punk, but really, really good.
Yeah,
I really, really enjoyed that. So.
There's a few other ones that you got on there. That the Arlo Parks EP, Sophie, that's nice.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. Paperbacks, I thought was a really cool song. I felt like it was getting really hyped up, but I don't really understand why.
Yeah, it's good.
But it's not like...
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed it. It's probably worth checking out if you like the song Paperbacks. But...
And then... Are we talking about should we talk about this now, or are we?
No, we're keeping that. We're keeping that.
We'll save that for you. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, I feel like that's all the main. There's other odd songs and shit that I've listened to, but no, that's really like jumped out to me. So yeah, should we talk about
the news?
Yeah.
So we're doing the news. What have you got for me today?
I don't know if mine. A lot of mine isn't news. It's just shit that I've seen that I kind of think could be good to talk about.
Oh, because this is the shit that we've seen that would be good to talk about segment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what news means?
Is it an acronym for that?
Yeah, so that's what I thought. My first one, just so we can get this out of the way, and it's not going to be a recurring segment, but it sort of is becoming a recurring segment. It's our Michael Jackson segment.
The Mike Jack Report.
So last time we talked about the Michael Jackson film that the Bohemian Rhapsody, I don't know what producer, writer, whatever it was, is now making.
And it was related to Martin Scorsese, and that's what we called it, The Irishman. Is that correct?
I can't remember. There was some link in there. There were.
Didn't you do something to do with The Aviator or something?
I can't remember. It was the guy who wrote Spectre. I remember that much.
Okay, go
anyway.
Go on.
Some new Michael Jackson news, and this is great because you're not only Michael Jackson involved with all the allegations that come with that. You also got Johnny Depp involved.
Not JD.
The domestic abuse allegations that come with that. Johnny Depp is to produce Michael Jackson as told by His Glove musical. So this is
as told by his what musical?
His Glove.
When did the glove become sentient?
This is the name of the musical is For the Love of a Glove, an unauthorized musical fable, and it's to debut in Los Angeles.
Does O.J. Simpson part of this?
January 2020. He might have a cameo. I don't know. I won't put it past him to be fair.
If the glove don't fit.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean? Okay.
The Johnny Depp bit might not be true.
Wow.
But it might be.
News first. Peter Spice Show.
This is the fake news segment, which we make up anything we want to do. We'll keep you updated on the Johnny Depp.
Why were you thinking of Johnny Depp? Can I ask?
It was rumoured that he was
It?
involved. But then,
were you just thinking of Johnny Depp?
But then when I've got it now, the update is that it's been confirmed that Johnny Depp. Okay, ignore all that shit.
I think
Depp
what it
not
is,
involved.
he
Johnny
really
Depp
likes Johnny Depp.
So why have they kept... This makes no sense. I blame Rolling Stone for bad journalism here. Because they've updated the article to say that he's not involved, but the headline still says Johnny Depp to produce Michael Jackson musical. So I blame them.
I think the only blame we got to blame is blaming the glove.
Yeah. But either way, there is a musical as told by His Glove.
That's the musical's name. Yeah.
The name of the musical is For the Love of a Glove. And then there's a.
Why is it called that? I mean, I know why it's called that, but why?
And there's some and shit. Yeah.
Because at first I thought you were going to say that Johnny Depp's producing a completely different movie for Michael Jackson. So we have all these different conflicting reports.
Like, what was it? Was it Steve Jobs when it was like there was a Fassbender one and then Ashton Kutcher brought one out like at the same time?
Yeah, well,
it's like that.
One was called Jobs and one was called
Steve Jobs, I think.
Yeah.
Some shit like that.
It would be great if one was called Jobs and one called Steve, and they kind of somehow merged together. That would have been great. Yeah, that's what I generally thought it was going to be. But for the love of a glove.
So, unfortunately, well, maybe fortunately, Johnny Depp is not involved. But for the love of a glove.
I mean, with Johnny Depp's sort of, I say unfortunate history because obviously we all love him as being the Jack Sparrow in Pirates Caribbean, even though it got a bit tiresome after about the 18th movie they did. But he was at one point a decent actor as well.
Yeah.
And obviously I know a lot of shit's happened with him. But to have his sort of, how do we say, baggage, and then with obviously Mike Jack's baggage, that's too much baggage. That's like if you went on a flight, the limit wouldn't allow you to actually go on board.
Well, that's what first caught my attention, but unfortunately it appeared that was just all bullshit. But Rolling Stone have not updated the headline. They've just put a little tiny footnote after it, so.
Okay, so we're playing them.
Maybe I just need to research it a bit more.
I mean, to be fair, you went to me yesterday. Is there any new stuff? I go, yeah. I'll give you loads of links.
I have new stuff. I have 5 things, 4.5 things.
I mean, how many did I give you? Probably about 20.
What else has been going on recently? Suppose we R.I.P. Juice WRLD. And that's since the
so that was one thing. So I put in. Was it Lucid Dreams in it? I should really know.
Yeah.
I put in that on the playlist. So yeah, I was. That's one of the reasons I actually really wanted to do the podcast. Obviously, when I was ill, but obviously I couldn't really speak. There's no point. But I was really, really shocked, but then wasn't shocked. What's like the sort of phrase where people say if you talk about death, you kind of bring it upon whatever, or you talk about something, you kind of bring it upon, especially like sort of things like topics of like your own. You think about your own demise, and I always go back to like Tupac always knew that something was going to happen to him, and something obviously eventually did happen to him. Well, happened twice really, but he survived one shot one time and then didn't the next time. So that was always thinking because a lot of Juice WRLD's music is a bit sort of, I suppose you would say emo rap, but also the same thing you would say it's mumble rap. But Juice wasn't that sort of guy. He actually when he rapped, he could really rap, and he had so much more talent because he had like a really good ear for beats and a really good ear for melody. And Lucid Dreams is a perfect example of that. And it's a shame because it's kind of what has been. I suppose because I think what has basically been said in terms of the rumor of what label's doing, it's kind of been shown from his ex-girlfriend, where these labels now, who are snapping at these young'uns, are providing drugs or getting someone to be a drug carrier or courier for these people, and they're enabling them to take drugs because of the music, because of the lifestyle, because of the image that they've crafted. I'm not saying that Juice was forced to do that, because obviously he is still a person. He has the right, he didn't have to take any of the stuff. And I remember him saying months and months ago, before it happened, he said he didn't want to do it. He said he wanted to kind of quit it and everything like that. I think I might do one when Nipsey died. I don't know. So like I was just shocked because I think it was just a shame because it's much like controversially, it's much like XXXTentacion. Obviously he got murdered, and it's a little bit of a different sort of thing. But the point is, despite of what came out, what he had done or supposedly done to his ex-girlfriend in terms of domestic violence, the kid had a lot of problems going on, but at the same time, much like Juice WRLD, had tons and tons of potential that we would never see now. End of the day, these kids are young. I mean, they're round about, well, I say young because they're round about your age anyway. They're younger than me. They're way younger than me. I won't say way, but like they're younger than me. The fact that like their life's cut short now, and we won't actually see how they will progress. Because if they've got this talent now, who would say in 10 years' time that they could be the next Jay-Z, or they could be the next sort of anyone, or their own person, in fact, in terms of the industry. And so that's where I don't really understand, why these things happen. Because like what the rumor that apparently when he was getting searched, that's why he took all those drugs all at once. Just like, is that really worth potentially killing yourself? I mean, at least it wasn't like a suicide, I suppose, but it almost kind of was in a way, anyway.
I think as well part of it is like obviously, as you said, people they have autonomy to do what they want, don't they? But especially when you look at, careers like that, where it's literally you're talking a couple of years, it goes from like 0 to 100, doesn't it?
Yep.
I think I don't know if it is labels or whoever, but I think somebody should have some kind of responsibility to at least educate or.
But it's been. I mean, I remember. I don't listen to Joe Budden podcast as much as I would like to, because he has 2 podcasts and they're like both 8 hours long. But I remember him saying something. Must have been. I can't remember. Maybe someone else had died, unfortunately, and again they were young. Right? And he was saying that these labels, as far as he's heard, that they're in fact, I think it was when Mac Miller died. They're providing these drugs for these people because they want them to kind of, or maybe because like them being high makes this sort of music, and that's what their talent is. You have to kind of almost feed the machine to to actually make something out of it, to make an actual product. But it's the thing where like rappers, but before talked about selling drugs, and now rappers talk about doing drugs, and that's kind of where we're at kind of now. And people do need to take responsibility. I know Juicy J said something about it. Said he's sorry if his music encouraged anyone to do any drugs, which I thought was good of him to do that. And again, people should be allowed to do that anyway. They should, they can take drugs if they want to. And if that's what gets them escape, cause all power to them. I'm not saying that no one should be allowed to do that if they don't want, but they should be almost encouraged or enforced to do it if that is the case. What maybe some labels are doing. I think that's what is really important to kind of stress. And I think, well, I don't know, it's going to happen to someone else probably this year, unfortunately. But it might not be as potentially a bigger name as Juice WRLD. Maybe to me, maybe not. I don't know. I might, maybe it's someone that I might end up really liking in the next few months, and that's it. That's one thing I hate about hip hop. Some of these people die off too often, unfortunately, and you have an attachment to their music because you want them to kind of progress. And I remember, years ago, like the guy called Stat Bundles, who I really liked because he was on Joe Budden mixtapes. He was this young kid in New York, and then I remember like Friday night got shot, and he was like, oh. Again, guy who just signed to like a really good sort of group with Jim Jones, with Bird Gang / Diplomats, and probably would have made it big. Although he was going a bit too much more in their direction, which I didn't really like, but I wanted him to kind of succeed because I really liked his mixtapes, all that sort of stuff. But then he died. It's like when Proof died, in D12. It's just I can name a bazillion rappers who unfortunately have just not not done it. I think hopefully this stops the sort of nonsense that they're almost overdosing each other so they can make music. I think it's bullshit. So yeah, I'm hoping, especially someone like Lil Xan. Like, why is he even a rapper anyway? But his name,
Lil Xan.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, shame. Rest in peace. But check his music out. His music's pretty decent. His album last year was pretty decent actually as well. Death Race to Love, I think it was called. I liked it quite a lot. Obviously, his first album's really good as well. So
Yeah.
We'll get off on a less somber note. What have we got next? Hopefully nothing too depressing. We've had paedophilia / domestic abuse, and now
my next one was just a nice. We were talking earlier about. I was saying I listened to the new Harry Styles album. Also, Liam Payne of One Direction fame has also released an album. I've not listened to the album, but I saw that it was in its first week. It had sold UK wide 7,000 copies. Was it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It goes to the point where this is why I hate these talent shows and stuff like that, where people they can become the ones that win. Obviously, they get a lot of money. If they somehow tap into the right way, which obviously One Direction did. I remember working at HMV and we had literally a One Direction stand full of all sort of accessories and all that sort of shit because we were trying to tap into that market as quick as possible.
Baby, you light up my world like nobody else.
Oh, cheers! I'm glad I do, mate.
The way that you flip your hair gets me overwhelmed, Chris.
Well, I don't have much hair, so that won't work. So yeah, my annoyance is because what happens when the 15 minutes is over, and they're still trying to have the lightning in a bottle sort of effect. It depends who you are.
Yeah, this is the thing. This is actually why I don't mind the Harry Styles thing. Is that he's at least trying to.
But he's remained relevant though for a while, so that's kind of different.
And he is trying to sort of do his own thing, or at least be a bit different. And I don't know. And Liam Payne's just gone off on this weird, tries this sort of edgy, and it's just not. And
it's like I don't understand unless, again, we'll probably never know how it works, but surely they made so much money that unless you really think you are that good. Why bother releasing anything?
I think they will have done, but I can see like
Simon
Cowell being the piece of shit he is. I can see him getting. They were 16 when I think they probably got together.
So, yeah.
I can see him getting tied into some 6-year bullshit contract where Simon Cowell gets like 80%, and I mean I'm sure they still made a shitload of money off of it, but I can see maybe not getting as much out of it as you thought they might do, because Simon Cowell's a bastard.
I suppose if it's the old label sort of thing, I suppose maybe. But then again, you think of touring, and they would have some sort of sponsorship deal or something like that.
Yeah.
Because like they were, it was ridiculous, like how big they were at one point, almost Beatles fame. Well, probably more. I mean, when you think about it now, because there's more people in the world. So yeah, that is crazy. That is crazy low numbers though. 7,000. So I wonder how much. You know what? I'm gonna find out now how many they sold of their. What was the first single called?
The first single
One Direction
was What Makes You Beautiful.
And what does make me beautiful, mate? Sorry, you have to answer.
No, I'm trying to think.
Oh, thanks.
I will be no.
As a delay happens.
I'm trying to think of the lyrics of what makes that person beautiful.
I mean, they're so memorable.
Well, it's basically, you don't know you're beautiful, Chris.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's what makes you beautiful.
Oh, okay. Because I'm humble.
Yeah.
Humble beauty.
Yeah.
Okay. List of songs. So, 2011 is that when they came out? That's crazy.
What decade that's been?
Are they the band of the decade? I hope not. Well, Wikipedia's not even giving me sales, so that helps, doesn't it?
Well, we might have to get back to this one.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
The only other one that I was gonna bring up as well is Lizzo has quit Twitter because of the trolls.
The trolls.
And I just think that Lizzo gets a lot of shit unnecessarily, really.
Oh, massively.
Yeah. And I just think it's a shame. That's it, really. That's my comment.
Well, what was that plagiarism thing?
So the plagiarism thing were well, there were two. It's the truth. It's the truth.
News coming in here.
Okay. We've got the number.
What makes you beautiful? It entered the UK singles chart number 1, 18th of September 2011.
Yeah.
Shifting 153,965 copies that week.
Okay, and Limp. This is an album we're talking about, so it's going to be slightly different. But yeah,
No, that was a single.
What?
That was a single.
Yeah, but Limp. This is the album figure.
Oh,
so
okay.
7,000.
Even so,
Yeah, it's still awful. Right. Okay. So bit of a downgrade.
All right, Lizzo. Plagiarism.
So the plagiarism thing was it's it's Truth Hurts, that song. So there was I just took a DNA test, which is the opening line. There was, and I can't remember her name, but there was a UK artist who had like tweeted out pretty much something like that word for word before that.
Right.
And then Lizzo saw it, whatever story you want to believe, and then it became part of the song. And then for ages didn't credit her, but then retroactively gave this UK artist like a songwriting credit on the song.
Okay.
So that was one of it. But then as well, there's another thing which there's other people, I don't know who claim that she nicked part of the song off them, and she just denies it altogether, basically.
But the thing is, though, with that sort of thing, everyone is the no idea original.
Yeah,
sort of theory.
it's like when they were like the Ariana Grande song, The Seven Rings, and that came out earlier this year, and like.
I know Princess Nokia says
something. and like I guess like there's some lyrics in there which are similar, but just like the beat, it's like I don't know, it's a pretty standard beat.
Yeah, but the thing is, we live in a world now that if you sample something, it's someone else's IP. Much like what we discussed earlier about the Shine Veneta thing about being
banned in Canada.
Now we're in war with Canada now.
It's been banned.
So it's like that. That's what annoys me so much, because I suppose back in the day, for like hip hop wise, you could get away with a lot of stuff, but then when these artists realised what these samples were actually gaining a lot of money for the rappers that were using them, then they realised there's a lot of money in there, and that's when this whole bullshit just kind of imploded, and it was just like, and you now should be able to get any money from anything. When Ari's that big,
yeah,
you know, I'm not surprised if it's the same beat as someone else has used, because Ari's always going to make money no matter what, and she got like 2 trillion listens on Spotify last year. So like, you know, she's gonna get some sort of money. Never mind, she tours all the time as well. So it's like, I can understand when someone, that's the issue when you get so big, is that you end up being targeted for like any little bit of money at all. So that's why, you know, not saying that whether it's true or not, with going back to Mike Jack about all the whole sort of, you know, pedophilia thing, but, you know, they saw an opening where something was not right with him. Obviously, he wasn't maybe right with the kids at the time, and so but you could easily make a story like that, couldn't you? Go, okay, well, he's touched my kid, and because he's got tons and tons of money, they can sweep it aside, pay him off, and that's how some people do things. Unfortunately, I know this is completely different to what we're talking about right now, but that was my example.
It's pretty much the same thing, Chris.
being accused of paedophilia as well as plagiarism. Okay,
but yeah, just like I think, I don't know, Lizzo just gets like a lot, just in general, just gets a lot of shit. I mean,
is it because she's so comfortable in her own skin?
Yeah.
And because and not that I'm trying to be kind of PC about this as possible, but she obviously she's obviously a big woman.
I think it's that.
But that doesn't make it less attractive or anything like that. But I think because of how she goes about it, and she doesn't give a shit, and she's happy with herself, which we should all be encouraging anyway. It's
but I first saw Lizzo, like we saw Churches about 5-6 years ago. Churches. And Lizzo supported him then.
Oh really?
So yeah, first of all, it was like 6 years ago or something like that. And like live and stuff, she's been. I mean, obviously she's blown up this year, but she's still the same as she pretty much back then. Yeah. It's not like I'd get it if people thought it were like an act or something like that. But
so, I don't know. It's purposely put on weight.
Yeah,
to
it's like
a statement.
or just the whole, you know, the like the body positivity type thing as an act, whatever. But I don't know. It's like if you've got that much of a problem about it, just fucking don't listen to music or just unfollow her on Twitter or some shit like that. It's not fucking hard, is it? Like, I think of all the things to have a problem with somebody about.
Yeah, like, be negative on someone being positive.
Yeah, it's just
because it cancels each other out.
Yeah,
so, it's a bit stupid, really, isn't it?
Indefensible, don't know.
Yeah,
fuck the internet, really.
I mean, her album was great last year as well. In fact, I listened to it last night when I was just going through some albums for another podcast we'll do. So yeah, I completely understand that, and I think I don't know what she's done though, because people are just dickheads, aren't they, on Twitter? Well, anywhere really, I suppose. So
it's all right, like, you know, people like us saying ignore it when we've got, you know, just our own Twitter. But you can imagine if you're getting however many comments and shit every single day, then yeah, can't be easy. So
yeah, what I will say, because I know it probably wasn't on your list, is that I know we briefly spoke about Mac Miller, but his
the album,
his state has said that the swimming album that came out, was it last year?
2018.
God, I felt like it was last year. There was actually a companion album that was going to be, the concept was Swimming in Circles, and the Circles going to be a little bit different album. So Circles is coming out a week today. I think today's the 10th, isn't it? Yeah, a week today.
So is it all stuff that he'd recorded to bring out as an album?
That's what I don't know. So I'm scared to listen to the single.
Yeah.
So I might just wait for it to come out and just listen to it as a project.
I think if it is, then
he recorded a lot of stuff though.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it is, and maybe it wasn't mastered, or he had it, and then because I remember that's why I was so hurt when he died, because like I really loved that album, and he was, because it wasn't too long after the album came out, was it? It was like must be like weeks ago.
Not too long. Yeah.
And he tweeted like maybe a couple of weeks or maybe a couple of days before he was found dead. Was like he was so excited about going on tour, about touring this album. So I wonder he was going to maybe do the tour, come back, release Circles, and then do another tour. Yeah. That would probably scream more logical sort of way of doing it, because then you're still keeping it, going. I don't know. I'm hoping that it's just maybe it's needed mastered, and that's what it is. And hopefully someone close to him has mastered it well. That's what I'm always worried about. Is like posthumous albums.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to say. You sort of worry when it is like they just have a load of unreleased music. These kind of ones where they just stitch a load of unreleased songs together and just put it out.
Yeah.
Oh, you question the motive behind putting it out, don't you? Sometimes.
Yeah, because you want to. Because you might as well say, look, these if you state it's unreleased songs, I don't mind it too much, because then, or it could be demos, things like that. If you try and dress it up as an album title or something like that, then it's like, well, is the vision still there, what it was going to be, or have you just decided that's the vision anyway, and that's what it's going to be? So I don't think it didn't sound like it's going to be that in terms of what that statement was. But I'm excited. Obviously, we won't have really a review until a week after. But yeah, I'll be listening to that quite a lot, I think. And I'll probably listen to it in conjunction with Swimming and see how it is a companion album.
Yeah, they'll sort of fit together.
Because I really enjoy Swimming.
I've not listened to it much since it came out, really.
I had a problem with Mac Miller, like, back in the day.
I
don't know. I don't have beef with him because I didn't know who he was. No, it's just I didn't really I didn't really get it why everyone liked him so much. And then it got until I think a couple friends really liked him, and then I think it was probably Jeff, and then I just ended up just kind of, I think maybe it took a while for me to play. Sometimes with some artists, it can take you a while to click with them.
Yeah.
I mean, this again, side note, Jeremy Renner, I didn't like Jeremy Renner because of his face. I'm not saying he's an ugly guy or anything, I'm saying I just didn't like his face. And so I didn't really care for Hawkeye or anything like that.
Is that the Jeremy Renner app? Did you see that? When he had the app? No, okay. That's another podcast.
So, that would be the Jeremy Renner app podcast.
We'll get him
on. So, I think it's the same thing like that, where like for some reason, either I didn't like it how he was rapping, or I didn't like his face, or whatever, and then all of a sudden it just clicked. And then, because I think Jeremy Renner's a really good actor now, because I've seen a lot of different stuff than Marvel, so... So yeah, maybe it's something to do with that. But I think I'm really excited for it. I'm hoping it's going to be really good. I always find weird. Say for example, it's a really really good album, and we get to the end of 2020, so we'll put 2020 albums of the year. I feel it weird to put that in the list of. I don't know why, because it's not really because it's not really. I don't know. I find it strange because I feel like you don't know.
I know what you mean. Like there were a Prince album earlier this year, which I think was all unreleased stuff.
But that Leonard Cohen album came out as well last year.
Yeah.
Which I managed to listen to.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's a good album.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I don't feel like how you don't know how much of the sort of vision really is intact still. So I don't know. Maybe it depends. If it's a phenomenal album, obviously I can't deny it's a phenomenal album. But then I just find it weird putting a Possums album on a list of top. But again, we don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But I think the other thing I won't mind talking about as well is obviously Ariana Grande. Again, we spoke to her about a couple of times before. She dropped a live album end of December or mid-December.
About 2-3 weeks ago, I think it was.
And the reason why I'm saying it is because I think it is quite a neat idea that could maybe be a trend that she could end up setting, really, which would be, I think, would be really cool. So obviously she dropped this. Was it 32 tracks or something?
It's long. It's not long, but it's got a lot of songs.
But it's the entire set list of what she did
Yeah.
that night when she actually released it as an album, apparently. So I think that's a really cool way of doing things. I think if you're that big, do that. I think, because if some people can't make it to these gigs, or it's like a one-off.
So what was it? So she had an album in 2018. She was touring that album, and then she released an album in 2019. And so she played the album on the day that it came out at the gig. Is that what it is?
So it's basically, I don't know whether it's that gig or it's maybe a previous show.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really look into it. Maybe I should look into it again. Maybe I just saw it. But I think it's a really cool. I think it's a neat idea though.
I think there are a few tracks that are from different.
Yeah, I don't think it's the entire album. Sweetener. I think it's like it's still other tracks because I think it didn't because there's cameos from like Nicki Minaj or something like that. So I think it's some sort of special show that she did. She's recorded it, and then obviously that's the set list. This is exactly what went down, and it's just these 32 tracks. I thought, here you go, and see what happens. I'm sure she's probably going to release another album probably this year as well. Probably I'd imagine. So, maybe she didn't have to now, I suppose, because obviously that came out quite late, so you can still tour and see what happens. But I thought it was a really cool idea. I don't know who I'd want to do that sort of thing, but it'd be quite cool if it's a case where somehow it got say for example you went to a really big gig, we'll say obviously here, like biggest venue here is First Directory, and so we went there, we saw, I don't know who we're gonna see.
I'm trying to think who is the biggest band that has played at the arena. Because most massive bands tend to avoid it. The biggest bands, I think, are all like older bands. It's like Fleetwood Mac and The Who and shit like that.
Yeah.
Because all the actual massive bands just don't do it.
Yeah. That's the same thing I got before. Anyway, let's think. Okay, should we say? I don't know. We'll say Stormzy, for example.
Stormzy's playing there.
Yeah, we'll say Stormzy.
So in Stormzy plays there.
Special show. So it'd be cool if you went to that show. Mm-hmm. All the tracks, the whole set list, everything is recorded at the same time, and then releases it that day. I don't know if that. I'm thinking that did actually happen. That's what Harry did. That'd be crazy. That'd be quite cool. Because then you almost. Because when I get to a gig, I always occasionally I'll try and record like a song. Obviously not just record it as in video, which I say. So just so I encapsulate that moment of like a song that I really like. Because sometimes you do forget like exactly what happened during a game because you're just you're enraptured in terms of you being there. An artist you really like. You're in with everyone who's also in the same sort of mood. And yeah, you have that great sort of feeling that that's gone on, but then you don't really remember it all. To have like a live album that especially if it's like a really big show, which I'm sure it sounds like Ari's was. That's a really cool thing, and again, I hope it is a new thing that they end up doing. If it is somehow they have the technology to kind of do it there and then, that'd be even better. But I'm not sure if that is the case. I don't know. I just made that up.
I'm just thinking there were the a few years ago when Skepta played Ali Pali. They did that. I went to it and it was really good. But then
Yeah, BBK on there then.
Yeah, and they brought everybody out really, like, Kano, LBBK, Lethal Bizzle if you into Lethal Bizzle.
Yeah. Pow.
But I think it was through. I think it was Apple Music, but they actually recorded the full thing as well. So I think you could get it track by track, but then they released it.
Apple's like doing like those like live gigs where they record the whole thing on video and you can watch it on the video.
Yeah. So you could go back and on Apple Music.
That'd be kind of a cool thing to do as well. I think because it's quite easy to put. Like, I think I do quite like it when. I know when me and Matt went to go and see Father John Misty, like the next day, when I was going to get the coach, was it the coach train back or it must be the coach back. We were looking like just trying to remember what the set list was. So we were just playing some songs while he was just driving me down into Newcastle. So, well, out of Newcastle really in a way. So yeah, that I quite like that because I quite like when you look at a set list. Go, oh yeah, I remember that. You kind of almost go back in your mind. Oh, but having that actually,
I think it sort of solves the problem as well of every fucker being stood there on the phone.
Yeah,
not actually watching them, just they're recording. Which
this is the thing now. So I've stepped back away from that quite a lot. Not because I think I always did it too often, but there is cases where like I try and do it really, really sort of, more of an awareness of like around me. So I'll try and do it pretty much to my face, so then no one is kind of really going to be bothered, but next to me, and it's not too high where the person behind me is going to be affected. Yeah. But then I'll do it is if I hear if I feel like at the moment it could be something really could happen, I'll probably put it out and see what happens. If I hear like the first couple of bars of a song happening, then I'll probably do that as well. Because like I said, when I went to see the Abstract Orchestra do All Caps, when I mentioned that I think on that episode 0, I wanted to make sure I got that entire thing. So as soon as I knew they were starting it, or had a feeling they were going to start it, I would start recording straight away just so I could get that entire song on there. Mm-hmm. Because that's just, sometimes the entire song is just like, to have that moment is really, really cool. But I do agree it gets done way too often, but I think maybe that is the the way of get out. But the thing is, people Snapchat, people do Insta stories now, and I think they want to get that 30-second cockeyed view of something for whatever reason, like it happening in front of me when I went to see Dave with Matt. every motherfucker was having the phone cocked at a weird 45 degrees.
You've got to have it 45 degrees, Chris. That's the new thing.
That just gives me anxiety. That have it straight. Have it either portrait or landscape, and that's it.
No, Chris.
You can't have it at bloody
45 degrees best of
23 degree angle.
45 degrees best of both.
Don't you? Best of both worlds. Is that what it is?
Can't decide.
Okay, fine, whatever.
Drop it at a tilt.
Tilt quilt. That's what I say. I don't know what it even means, but yeah. So maybe this is going to be the new thing.
Maybe a new trend.
New live albums, and maybe because that'd been cool. The thing is, because Spotify don't have any video area, do they?
But they've got this bullshit thing when you're listening to a song and there's like a little animation thing behind it now, which I don't really.
So I wonder if Spotify will ever do a video thing, because obviously Amazon could do that. Well, but obviously Apple have got the technology to do so anyway. Yeah. So maybe artists big artists should really do that in order to get more streams, I suppose. Because maybe they must get some sort of money. Say, for example, someone watches an entire 2-hour concert, like on YouTube. There must be some sort of arbitrary sort of money they must get from it per 5 minutes or something.
Maybe. I think it depends what platform it is done to as well. But
yeah, I suppose because then I suppose you could sell it on Netflix, or you could sell it on what's it called, YouTube. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm down for that. Because sometimes you can't get to gigs. I went to try to get to so many gigs like 2 years ago. It was ridiculous. I was like, I had to cancel some of them. So it's like
too much.
It's just too much. Or I just wasn't in the mood to go and see him. So I was like, yeah. But yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That's why I just wanted to bring that up. I thought that was a really neat idea.
Yeah.
Because obviously she's very much fan base sort of. She wants to make sure she just provides for them all the time. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what we want to talk about in terms of news. So I think the next segment is because not really anything out today for us to even talk about.
Yeah, there's even like the last week or so. I've been trying to think. There was I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, actually, no. Oh, no. I'll speak that in the next mini episode.
I don't know if you saw there's like a Denzel Curry thing that dropped.
Oh, the Blood In, Blood Out
Yeah,
thing.
and it's like...
Is it some sort of mix?
It's like a 12-minute mix that's got like 5 different people. I've not... It was in it. Trying to see.
I didn't even listen to... Was it Taboo that came out last year?
Yeah.
I didn't even listen to it.
It was really good.
I had a mixed review, that's why I probably didn't listen to it.
But yeah, so I need to probably listen to that. I've sort of listened to a bit of it, but yeah, it's like 30 minutes long, so I need to probably sit down and listen to it. Yeah, there's not. I mean, I was saying to you, there's a new Poppy album which I'll probably listen to.
Who's Poppy? Sell me on Poppy.
Well, so she was kind of like a bit of an internet star, but then this new album is meant to just.
She's
be
not like the robot girl.
I don't, blonde hair. You might.
Yeah.
Like, right. Okay.
Is she the robot girl?
But the new album is like a metal album.
So she is the robot girl.
Possibly, yeah.
Because I just remember on Facebook sometimes you see all these genius things.
Yeah.
And there's always some random ass person I've never heard of before.
Yeah, right. Okay, might be.
Like they're showing the lyrics, and then it was like this blonde girl, and she was just talking like she was a robot, and I was like, what? I don't understand.
Genius. Let's have a look. But then.
I'm not. I mean, it might be. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, okay, probably.
Yeah, it is her.
Okay,
it's the
right,
robot
yeah.
girl.
Yeah, but like the new album, apparently it's just like a metal album. So I'm intrigued.
I mean, she's a robot girl, so it makes more sense.
So I'll give that a listen. But this time of year is always pretty slow, isn't it? Especially first week of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Because
all comes out.
Because I always feel it's bad when someone does drop an album on it because it's hard to remember.
Yeah, and you just forget about it. And when people are doing album lists and shit like that.
Well, funnily enough, I do have a very early January album that's potentially in my list. I'm not even going to give any hints yet, but so yeah, I always feel it's a bit bad. I think it's a case of when it gets to like really end of January is when it starts to really get going. But there's a lot of projects. Looks like could be. A lot of projects coming out next year. That could be quite cool. Did you see that link that I gave? I mean, I know we'll speak to it maybe in a different podcast, but there was that albums 39 artists or albums to look out for from Pitchfork.
I've not looked at it for this year. Is that
for this year? Yeah. So we might deep dive in that quite quickly because that's quite a really good article actually. To be honest, it's some good stuff could potentially come out. But I always forget, like you think, I've not heard from so and so, and I always feel like I should like note that down. Are they going to be dropping an album out? So I might try that. But yeah, it's not really much out. That's our segment for that. I think
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully 2 weeks time there's more shit that's come out. So
what I want to say as well before we go to what we're going to have the traditional segment is the artist spotlight thing. So I know you've got one ready to kind of go in a second. What I was thinking with it, because we don't want to exhaust resources. So I was thinking, whilst we're on the podcast, if we do it every 2 weeks, so that at least we give enough time for us to actually find someone worthy of doing it. And then
should I just leave this one then?
No. We'll do it this one because we're not going to have one for next episode anyway.
That's true. So
we can obviously my notes saying record podcast. I'm already doing it. So yeah, I think if we can use it sparingly, shall we say? Because we don't. Because I was thinking when I obviously did Cunnilingus last time. Obviously, we're going to do another one in a second. But I think if we might get to the point if say we did this years down the line somehow, and we're a bit wiser, we probably not recording from an iPhone. We may not have any artists to talk about.
Okay.
So or it might you could either we do it every 2 weeks, or we probably maybe do it or even maybe one a month, and have like some sort of like I don't know because I was there's another thing I'll talk to you about after this podcast, but I just don't want us to kind of overuse it. Really.
I agree.
Because then we're having to like trying to find artists scrambling around well, no point because then we're going oh well the Beatles artist spotlight they've been around in the 1960s so
that's mine.
Oh shit,
I wouldn't do the Beatles.
Oh fuck,
you fucking ruined that, haven't you?
Shit.
Well I mean I've not going into it as much as you, and mine's probably is better known than yours, but I still feel like even like people who listen to UK hip hop more, it's still maybe not as known. So Kojey Radical is a rapper. I mean, he does all sorts of stuff from East London, and yeah, he actually has quite a few things out. He had an album out this year.
Good album,
Cashmere Tears, which is good, very, very good actually. And yeah, I just feel like he done for as good as he is, maybe didn't get as much recognition, especially in the UK scene where it's more, when you think about the people that you listen to radio stuff more, his name never really comes up in
which
those
he's
kind
got.
of
He's got commercial appeal.
Yeah,
which I think is crazy as well. I found out about him, and obviously I asked you about him as well after it, but through it was the alt rap playlist that Apple do, and a couple of songs came out. I thought, oh, this guy's got some, he's got some really cool songs, and I thought, oh, I wonder if like James heard of him at all. And obviously you had heard of him because I think you went to go see him.
Yeah. So then me and another mate, we saw him in Leeds, 2018 probably. Really good live as well, and yeah, I just think give him a listen. He's got as well. It's a good sort of. It's not just one style that he does.
Yeah, he's not like rappity rap either.
Yeah.
He has all these sort of various styles, and I think that's what when I say commercial appeal, I mean like he has. Not say he's got pop records. He's got records that can be on the radio quite easily.
Yeah. There's other stuff that he's got that's not maybe like as not accessible, but not as like mainstream sound. But then, like you said, there's a good few that are like that.
And I think going back to what you were saying about the UK scene, that's in hip hop wise, that's my issue in a way because it's so focused with grime, which is not a bad thing, but it's you have any sort of standard hip hop in the UK, you don't get the exposure at all unless you've got a grime track, a drill track, or a combination of them but a poppy version, and that's the issue I think I have. But there's no reason why he couldn't be as big as Stormzy in terms of the ability that I think he has at his measure.
Yeah. So we'll probably put a link to his most recent album in the description on like Spotify and Apple. But then all his other stuff's really great as well. So
yeah, I think I want to check his other stuff because again, I only came onto him because of that couple of songs, and I don't know if that's why I listened to the album as well. And I did like the album. Thought it was a really, really good album as well. But yeah, I think that definitely someone to check out for. Obviously, didn't go through. didn't have the notes that I had, but it's fine. Don't worry.
Need to research his backstory more. Find out where he lives. Find out where he lives and shit.
To be fair, I didn't even use my stuff anyway the last episode, did I? So yeah, I think that pretty much sums the return.
Episode 2. Episode 2.
Our third
episode 3,
episode.
but episode 2. Next episode hopefully coming soon as well. But look at the socials. Links below. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Follow us on Anchor, providing we're not being banned. If you live in Canada,
fuck you.
Get a VPN.
No, fuck you. No, they don't like you anymore. They like Canada. War in Canada.
Well, if that's the official stance of the podcast, then
until they surrender the rights to Sharon Finette and come back here.
Give it back.
When they give the rights back, I'll call truce.
Yeah. Shout out to Gilbert again for the intro.
Yeah.
Link in the description for his page on Apple
and hopefully
Spotify.
at some point, I've discussed with him.
Yeah.
That we may have a interview / just hangout session
with
on the podcast. Yeah, we were going to do something. I think he had a live show up in Harrogate. Again, unfortunately, I was still unwell during that time, and I couldn't really get a shift slide the next day. I couldn't really go because we were thinking of probably doing something then. And he was worried that he might swear on the podcast. I'm like, mate, we swear all the time.
It's a family-friendly podcast.
It's a family fucking friendly podcast.
Yeah. You brought up Michael Jackson about 3 times in this.
Yeah, it's really family friendly. Yeah, so I think that's it is for now.
Brilliant. And see you all next time. Thank you for tuning in.
Toss a card for your podcast. Yeah, see you later.